This is what a 235 kilometers an hour second serve looks like, the equivalent to 146 miles per hour. Not a first serve, a second serve. The fastest second serve in tennis history. And this is the guy who hit it. Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, a 21-year-old, 6'8" serving machine from France. At the 2024 Basel ATP 500, Giovanni didn't just break records, he won the entire tournament, all while putting up stats that look like something out of a video game. And yet, nobody seems to be talking about him. If you missed Perricard's performance at the Basel ATP 500, here's a quick summary. He defeated Rune in the semis and Shelton in the final. Throughout the tournament, he served 109 aces, and in the final against Ben Shelton, he averaged 137 miles per hour on first serves and a ridiculous 132 miles per hour on second serves. Exactly what you heard. Averaged. You would think that serving like this would make him the biggest star in tennis, but instead, most fans barely know his name. Why? Well, the truth is that tennis fans love long rallies and crafty shot making. Let's be honest, do you prefer watching this? Or this? I mean, when was the last time you heard fans raving about Ivo Karlovic or Milos Raonic? These types of players are often labeled as one-dimensional or even boring. Tennis fans don't get excited about watching 50 ace matches with two-shot rallies, which is exactly the kind of tennis Perricard plays. The ATP is fully aware of this, and purposely made conditions slower over the years in order to lengthen rallies, by either slowing down the courts or using slower balls. Proof of that is this graph that shows how rallies became progressively slower after the 90s and into the 2000s, all in an attempt to make tennis more watchable. But despite the Tennis Association's efforts, we have seen serve bots put out crazy numbers in recent years, like Isner, who served a total of 14,470 aces throughout his career, or Karlovic with his 92% career hold rate and 83% points won on first serves. So how exactly does Perricard differ from everyone else? In one word, speed. To show just how fast Perricard is serving, take a look at this graph that displays the average first serve speed of the fastest servers in tennis history. Just for comparison, a tour player's average first serve speed is around 115 miles per hour, while Isner and Roddick averaged around 123. Karlovic and Raonic averaged 125, and Riley Opelka has been averaging 127 miles per hour. And then, there's Perricard, averaging 135 miles per hour, a full 20 miles per hour faster than the tour average, and 12 miles per hour faster than 6'10" John Isner, regarded by many as the greatest server ever. Giovanni's average first serve speed isn't just higher than any active ATP player, it's the highest recorded average in history, by a long shot. If that wasn't enough, here's what makes him even more unique. Most big servers play it safe on second serves, but Perricard, he has basically chosen to just hit two first serves. His 146 miles per hour second serve in Basel wasn't a one-time accident, because he's averaging 180 miles per hour second serves, higher than the average tour player first serve. The question now is, can that actually work in the long term? Nobody could have more authority to answer this question than serve specialist Andy Roddick. So take a look at what he had to say about it.
Is it statistically responsible to just hit two first serves based on when you make it, your win percentage? If Mpetshi Perricard just hits two first serves, does he win 60% of his second serve points? I think yes.
Serving two first serves might sound crazy, but we've seen high-risk, high-reward strategies revolutionize other sports before. Think about basketball in the early 2000s. Most teams played it safe, taking high percentage shots near the basket. Coaches thought three-pointers weren't efficient enough to rely on. But then, players like Steph Curry came along, and data showed that even if you miss more, shooting more threes leads to more points overall. Nowadays, basketball has basically turned into a three-point shootout. Of course, tennis isn't basketball. Wind, different courts, altitude, there are way more variables at play. But Perricard's two first serve strategy in tennis is similar to the three-point revolution. As Roddick said, it's a numbers game, it's risky, it leads to more double faults. But if his ace rate is high enough, it could become a more efficient strategy in the long run. So, to really understand this risk-reward equation, I plotted on this graph the 20 players with the highest ace per match in the history of tennis. On the y-axis, we have the average ace per match, and on the x-axis, we have the average double fault per match. So the further up and to the left a players place, the better, meaning they hit more aces while doing less double faults. As we start the graph, we see extremely risky players like Maxim Cressy and Alexander Bublik, who serve a lot of aces but average nearly double-digit double faults. As we move on, we see great servers like Ivanisevic, Sam Groth, Nick Kyrgios, and Milos Raonic. And when we get to the top of the graph, we of course see the 3 tallest players of all time, Riley Opelka, John Isner, and above everyone else, Ivo Karlovic, with almost 20 aces per match, the highest average of all time, followed by our young Frenchman, Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, who's tied with John Isner for second highest average ace per match ever. But just as important to be noticed is that he's also third on double faults per match. It's clear that Perricard is playing the high risk, high reward game, and also true that he has only played 6 Grand Slam matches so far. So the 5-set matches will allow him to hit even more aces and possibly place further up on the graph. But at the same time, he can double fault even more with these longer matches. So could Giovanni actually make that work consistently? If so, will this change how future players approach serving? Could we see a shift where more young players try to hit 2 first serves? There are many questions, but the fact is that he's still only 21 years old and already a top 30 player, so it has already kind of worked. But will it be enough to win the big titles and climb to the top of the ranking? Leave a comment below about your take on Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard. I'll be reading it. Subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.